bounced early in the playoffs out in the first round. Their coach, Brett Brown, was let go. And now, according to Woj, Philly brass met with Doc Rivers Wednesday night to discuss the head coaching position. Doc and the Clippers agreed to part ways last week. Max Kellerman. Are the Sixers a small or a big fix for this new head coach, whoever takes over?
They could be a small fix. Let's not forget for a second, okay, that a couple of years ago, not this playoffs, but the previous playoff season, like within the last 18 months, the Sixers came one miracle shot from Kawhi, which bounced around 3 times before it went in, away from advancing. And I really think when you think about what the competition would have been, they could have won the championship last year. Like, there's a real good chance they could have been crowned NBA kings last year, considering the injuries to the Warriors and the fact that only the Bucks would have been in front of them. And the Sixers actually match up with the Bucks pretty well, especially a couple of years ago. So, that doesn't require a major blow-up. Now, I know I've been arguing that I think you need to choose between Embiid and Simmons based on their age before Simmons' catastrophic injury. I'd have gone with Simmons and get what you can for the other guy because they don't get along. But someone like Doc Rivers, for example, who could really help in that regard, or you would think that would be his main job, getting that chemistry right. When you start to look at the talent on the team, what are our real beefs? That Horford doesn't play well next to Simmons, but that certainly gives you 48 minutes of rim protection, back to the basket play if you need it, just elite kind of big man play between the two of them, even if they're not on the court together very much. A guy like Thibault, who is excellent, by the way, as a rookie defensively, also shot the 3 better, I think, than people realize, is real talent. You're not even paying him yet. Tobias Harris. See, we focus on Horford and Harris and the contracts. They're bad contracts, I get it. And Tobias Harris isn't a defender, but he can play offense. You know, he's not a great offensive player, but he's a good one. And so what people do with the Sixers is focus on everything that's wrong, right? Because certain guys are overpaid and there's not a lot of cap flexibility and there have been some chemistry issues. But if you forget about the money and all that stuff and just look at the roster, they could use a little more shooting, right? Okay. And if they get a little more shooting, are they title contenders? I think so. So whatever you think the optimal plan is, take a team and say add some shooting and they can contend for a title? That doesn't sound like a major overhaul to me. That sounds like a tweak.
It's a big fix, and it has nothing to do with a major overhaul. It's what you have to do with the pieces that are already there. The fact of the matter is that the cornerstones of your franchise are going to be Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Somebody's got to get Ben Simmons to get some kind of a perimeter shot. You got to work with this man. You got to make sure that it's a priority for him, not only to develop it, but to actually utilize it come game time over the course of an 82-game schedule. That is a very big deal. That's number one. Number two, get Joel Embiid's big butt down the post. You're a man. What are you, 7'1", 270 pounds, launching threes all the damn time for? Or mid-range jump shots? Play with your back to the basket, drop step with that exceptional footwork of yours, and be the man amongst boys that you are. That's a big ask. It's a big fix. It's not something that they can't do, or at least in the case of Joel Embiid, that he can't do. But you got to get him to do it. It matters. And, of course, getting them those shooters as well. And also developing a culture where Jimmy Butler doesn't want to leave for South Beach, even though I can't imagine somebody wanting to choose Philly over South Beach, even though Philly's a great sports town. But South Beach is South Beach, and I do understand. But you got to find somebody that's going to create a culture and environment that guys would want to be in. You got to have the kind of cachet with management that they don't let J.J. Redick walk away when you know that you were knocking on the door of an Eastern Conference Finals just a year earlier when you had both Butler and J.J. Redick to go along with Simmons and Embiid and Tobias Harris, et cetera, et cetera. These are the kind of things that can happen. So when I say a big fix, I'm not talking about an overhaul. I'm not talking about, changing the whole roster or anything like that. I'm talking about the parts that you have in place. Yeah, you can add a shooter here and there, no question. But the parts that you have in place, getting them to do their damn job. It's a big deal because if Ben Simmons, if you get him to be a bit more offensive-minded, we know what he can do defensively. We know his ball handling skills, his passing ability, his basketball IQ. But if you can get him to be more assertive offensively and more productive, and you get Joel Embiid in the post, reminding everybody that the Greek Freak just might not be the best big man in this league. It might be me. If you can do those two things, which is a tall order, not a short order, obviously you're going in the right direction. But those are not small things, they are big things. It just doesn't involve wholesale changes on a roster.
Well, in the Eastern Conference anyway, I think in the league, considering what we just saw in the playoffs, I'm going with Jokic now as the best big in basketball. But what you're talking
Skilled
about,
offensive
Stephen A,
player, Matt.
has not
he
yet
doesn't
been
play
achieved.
defense like that.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. That's fair. What you're talking about is, look, these things that may look simple have not yet been achieved. Hey, Ben Simmons, at least shoot the ball. Just shoot it so people know there's the threat of a shot if you're wide open. Hey, MB, get down to the post more than you've been doing, right? So they haven't been achieved there so far. So you're inferring from that they must be difficult to do. But you've also said that they had the wrong guy as coach, Brett Brown, good coach.
Because he couldn't get him to do that.
Not good enough to. Okay, but that means he had a problem with it. It doesn't mean the next guy will. And to me, Ben Simmons, working on his shot, simply needs to shoot the ball during the game. And because it hasn't been done so far does not mean that's like a difficult thing necessarily. He just hasn't done it so far. And MB getting down to the post, also, he's done it at times. Get him to do it more. To me, those are little things. Those are not like we need to overhaul a roster. We need to totally change our philosophy.
Kenny Smith is waiting for us. We will certainly ask him about that and all things NBA Finals. Let's get into a quick commercial break. As I just mentioned, the Jet will be with us after the break talking about the NBA Finals. We can also ask him about the coaching vacancies as well as those 6.
On site if that works.
Okay, then we will start off with David Medeman.
Brian, you guys went on, I think, a 75-30 run after falling down 13 early. What allows you guys to have success like that over a sustained period of time, a run like that?
Paying attention to detail. I'm physical enough, and you have to get a feel for how hard Miami plays. And I think they smacked us in the mouth. And we got a sense of that, and so we knew how hard we had to play if we wanted to try to make it a game. And from that moment when it was 23-10, we started to play to our capabilities. We started flying around, we started getting defensive stops, and we started sharing the ball a lot better offensively, and just got into a really good groove.
All right, Kyle Goon.
For AD, thank you. For AD, obviously his first finals game. What'd you see about his preparation? Was there any advice you gave him, and to see him perform like that, what do you feel about that?
I don't feel anything. I expected out of him. Didn't need to give him no advice. We've been preparing for this moment all season. He's been preparing for this moment all season, and I'm happy to be on the same floor with him in the same uniform. And he was once again a force. Every facet of the game, both offensively and defensively.
All right, Dan.
LeBron, you've felt the buzz of the NBA Finals 9 times in your career. What was it like today with nobody there, the sound? I mean, I know you're used to bubble basketball at this point, but on this stage, what did it feel like to play a finals game?
It felt great. I've been preparing for this moment for quite a while. And fans, no fans, the inner challenge for myself and the way I prepared myself, it felt amazing to be playing in the finals once again.
Okay, Rachel Nichols.
Brian, you've seen plenty of times over the years where if one team has a bunch of injuries, the other team kind of floats a little bit and doesn't come at them as hard. How do you make sure that you guys don't do that in game 2?
We got so much more work to do. The job is not done, and we're not satisfied with winning one game. It's that simple.
All righty, Chris. Thanks.
Bron, there was a few times where you guys got up big, and then there was a lot of celebrating going on, and I seen sometimes you had to rein them in a little bit. What do you from your experience, what have you seen in the past that got you to the point where you felt like sometimes you just say like, okay, let's keep it on task.
The best teacher in life is experience, and I've experienced moments in my career, finals games, where you had all the momentum in the world and you felt like you had the game under control, and one play here or one play there could change the course of a series or change the course of a game. And one in particular that always rings home for me is Game 2 of the 2011 finals in Miami versus Dallas. D. Wade hits a three right by that bench. I believe put us up either 13 or 17. And from that moment on, Dallas went on a hell of a run and finished it off with a Dirk Nowitzki left-hand layup to steal that game. That shit burns me to this day. So I always talk about the best teacher in life is experience, so I've experienced a lot. So that's what prompted me to be who I am today, is being able to have those experiences.
Okay, we'll send it back to Will.
Right, thank you. I'm going to take 3 more on my side. Tanya?
Bron, I'm wondering, in a game like this, when you guys have the kind of lead that you had, are you already thinking, this is what we've done, this is what we could do better, here are some things that we're doing wrong? Were you already in that frame of mind during this game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can learn so much more from a win than you can in a loss. And I can't wait to get, for tomorrow for us to get back together and watch the film and see ways we can be better and see some of the breakdowns that we had, especially in that fourth quarter, especially in that first 6 minutes of the first quarter, where we could be so much better defensively and also so much better offensively. So I can't wait. I'm extremely amped up about watching the film with our ball club tomorrow. I'm gonna watch some tonight, obviously, by myself, but looking forward to getting together as a group tomorrow.
Hey, LeBron, Mike Trudell back in LA. Teams have spent your whole career trying to keep you out of the paint. Say the same thing this season about AD. What are some of the ways that you guys are still always seemingly able to get there, still able to get to the rim and still able to finish?
Because we have great spacing and great shooters. Without KCP, without Danny Green, without Kyle Kuzma, or Markieff Morris, and a list of guys that can spread the floor, it allows myself and AD to be able to do the things that we do in the interior. And we try to mix up our game too. We try to mix it in the interior and the exterior, but